Hallo miteinander, I'm Gesh86 and this is Metroid II Return of Samus. Yes, we are playing a somewhat mainstreamish game for a change. The Metroid franchise is now more relevant than it was even back then, but we're going to take a look at the earlier times. This must be my favorite game on the classic Game Boy, even surpassing Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters and Final Fantasy Adventure. What makes it so good? Well, you're going to have to watch the LP to find out. I'm not going to outright tell you. And the game has already started. This is from the era of video games where the story was often only in the manual, so I will summarize for you. The Galactic Federation has sent several ships to the planet SR-388, but they have lost contact to all of them. The Council now believes that the thought-to-be-extinct alien race called Metroid is still somewhere on that planet. So they have sent some teams to investigate, but none of them have returned as well. Now they have hired the bounty hunter Samus Aran to deal with the problem. Bounty hunter, local exterminator, what's the difference? Anyway, Samus's basic abilities have improved since the first game. She now has the Morph Ball ability already unlocked. She can also duck down now, and even shoot down while she's in the air. Good thing she packed those extra servos, so now she is more flexible than Rob the robot. Because seriously, that's what she was like. But keep in mind that those are just our basic abilities. Samus can actually get much stronger in this game by collecting upgrades, and compared to what she may become, she is actually really weak right now. But nothing we can really do about it just yet. All we can do is make our way through the planet's depths and hunt for Metroids, because that is our objective. As represented on the low right corner, we have got a Metroid counter there, showing the number 39. That's a pretty big number, right? Well, Metroid games are expansive, so expect this to take a little bit. Metroid games are also much more about exploration than combat, so it's no wonder that we're simply flattening these super weak enemies left and right. But let's not get too boastful. Something is coming our way that is not so defenseless. It's our first Metroid, an Alpha Metroid. These can be killed with 5 shots of your missiles, and even though this one is more intimidating than the critters beforehand, he's still pretty darn lame actually. Oh well, cut the guy some slack. He has only just shed off his infant skin, so of course he won't be that dangerous. Now what is this? An earthquake? Are we going to get crushed? Will there be a cave-in? Well, not exactly, but this did have some relevance. It's not really something that I can demonstrate or explain well right now, but we're going to keep it in mind. It will become important. Okay, so now that we've gotten everything from that part of the cave, it's time to return to the first crossroad of the game. Backtracking, if you will. That is such a negative word. But honestly, in Metroid II, backtracking isn't all that much of an issue. I mean, sometimes you have to go down an already known path, but it never really makes you return to any major areas. Once you're done with something, you're done. And besides, it's always nice to see Samus blast away some innocent alien creatures. I certainly think so. Now there's something else in this room, the first save point of the game. Now I've noticed that there are actually very few of these around. Should you suddenly feel the urge to save your game, chances are that you will have to go out of your way to get to the nearest one. And that is not good at all, because that will cost you valuable time. And in this game, time is of the essence. Metroid games, especially the old ones, are made for speedruns, and so is this one. Depending on how fast you can finish the game, you will get a certain ending. Are we going to get the best one? Perhaps we will, perhaps we won't. I like to think I'm experienced at this game, but as you can probably tell from my playstyle, I'm not struggling for every single second. We will just have to wait and see how it turns out. What I can promise you is that we won't get horribly lost. No siree. Now in the next room is a big lake full of acid. We will have to test our platforming skills to get past it. Luckily it's not as bad as it sounds. Air controls in Metroid games are very good. It almost feels like there is low gravity, so aiming your jumps shouldn't be a problem. It almost feels like you're too powerful. Metroid 2 may feel very easy at times, but it has its challenging spots. They may be few, but they do matter. But to get back to the game, we have just reached a new section where we fight alien pancakes. Or at least I like to think they are. They are actually called chute leeches, and they are not at all like pancakes. Quite on the contrary, they eat you, not the other way around. But something else is remarkable about this part. Listen to the music. It's become simply eerie noises. I want to give you 5 seconds of silence where you can just listen to it. Really creepy, isn't it? This is one of those things that I like about the game. It really tries to create a menacing atmosphere. You know, Metroid 2 might be the closest thing to a survival horror game that you can have on the classic Game Boy. You wouldn't think that would work on that system at all, but I guess it does. Now you might have noticed that the scenery has changed once again. When the environment starts looking like this, you are close to a ruin area. These ancient ruins were part of the Chozo civilization, and most of the items and upgrades in this game are inside or at least close to these ruins. Makes sense, Samus' suit is Chozo technology after all. Now we could just ask the Chozo to give us their treasure, but unfortunately all of them are dead. All that's left around here are their robot security guards, and they see Samus as a common thief, so we have to be careful. In this little chamber, we can get our first enhancement, the bomb. Bombs are used in Morph Ball mode only, and are used to destroy certain kinds of blocks that otherwise we wouldn't be able to get rid of. Destroying this one right here gets us our first missile pod. These increase our missile capacity by 10. I think that's more than in pretty much any other Metroid game. But back to the subject of bombs. They are more of a tool than a weapon. I mean, compared to the first Metroid game, they do more damage now, but still feel very impractical to use against enemies. Most of the time, you just use them to uncover secrets, like this one. This nets us an energy tank, increasing our maximum health from 99 points to 199. That makes us a lot less likely to die, and you really don't want to die in this game. It's one of those single life games. The moment you die, you're going to lose all of your progress and you will have to load your last save. And that can throw you back quite a bit. Now there are still some more items to be found in the ruins, but they are not that important right now. What we really want is on the far side of them, right through here. We can find an item here that has been newly introduced in Metroid 2. And it also didn't reappear until the Prime series, where it worked completely differently than it does in this game. It is the Spider Ball. This is another upgrade for the Morph Ball. It helps us crawl along any kind of surface, may it be ground, wall, or even the ceiling. It really helps you get places, but you know what's the best thing about it? Whenever you activate it, it makes a very flatulent sound. And that is just really hilarious for my immature brain. What can I say? It's in my nature. Just before we went down this path to get the Spider Ball, you might have noticed something. Up here was another shed husk of an infant Metroid. Whenever you see one of those, it means that a Metroid is nearby. In this case, another Alpha Metroid. Right up here through this passageway. This one may be a little more tricky to fight than the first one because the arena is a little more open. But still, if you can keep your distance and shoot it from below, it should pose no problem at all. Now might be a good time to return back to the ruins and get what we've missed, but before we do so, I want to show you something else. Something that isn't an upgrade, but what you definitely don't want to miss. We have to travel to the very top of the area using our handy dandy Spider Ball. That thing unfortunately is very sluggish. Oh well, we'll just have to be patient. That nasty icky Spider Ball, always making its vulgar sounds everywhere. Come to think of it, Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land, actually reuses a lot of sounds from Metroid 2 I've noticed. Including that one sound. Yeah, way to be lazy, Nintendo. But more importantly now, here's what we've come up here for. We have a health and a missile refill a little bit later. Those are stationary items that don't disappear when you touch them, and when you do so, you will regain full charge of that respective resource. You have to be careful when getting this though, because once you touch one of the bat-like gulu, you will plummet all the way down. Your spider ball will deactivate, and it would have all been for naught, so really, be careful. We were lucky to make it, and now we have full missiles again. You really want a lot of missiles in this game, and because you do, we're going to get some more even now. Now, there's a total of 6 missile pods hidden in these ruins, so that is actually a good milestone to know when you're done with this part. We have 50 now, so there's 4 more pods to find. But apart from those missiles, we are still missing a piece of equipment. Ever wondered about our beam? It's really nothing to write home about, isn't it? Well, we have to change that. We want to get rid of these small lasery pellets. Oh yes, we need something that is a little bit more effective. Now, we could have gotten this item even earlier, but we simply didn't. That's just how I set my priorities. It is past this missile door, and once we have that item, we will also end this first episode. I'm Gash86, this was Metroid II: Return of Samus, and next time we will give our foes an icy reception. Maybe a cold shoulder or two. That is, if they have shoulders. I don't think any of them did. Anyway, bis bald!